and welcome to this special festive Christmas episode of this first look exploring session of Narcissus, a Twelfth Night Merriment performed in Twelfth Night of what we would call 1602. The modern people would call it 1603 because somehow they think the year changes in the new year. But no, it doesn't change till March. So it's still 1602 as far as we're concerned. It's 12th Night. It is an entertainment performed at St John's College, Oxford in January. And it is possibly incredibly self-indulgent. Just as a general warning here of this kind of thing. This is going to be full of in-jokes. It's going to be full of Latin that we won't understand. It's going to be full of references to things that we won't have a clue about, but which will be very interesting, I'm sure, once we actually unpick it further down the line. So it was performed on a Thursday the 6th of January. It was after some supper. We've all had a jolly good meal. And goodness only knows how late it is as well. Some of these evening entertainments, they don't get started for ages and they'll happily finish the next day. So goodness only knows how long into the evening this went. The cast includes one Francis Clark, who plays the porter. So one of our company gets to be Francis Clark, who's basically referring to himself all the time. In the audience, we have a Ralph Hutchinson and presumably his wife, Mrs. Mary Hutchinson. So we know they're in the building, along with presumably a lot of rowdy students at St John's College. So that's the text we're doing for this special festive Christmas special, which will be released sometime during Christmas. I don't know. It'll be probably released both on the podcast and the YouTube channel simultaneously. Yes, a simulcast release to try and join the two halves of things. If you like listening to this or watching this kind of play reading or sort of play reading, then you can always sign up for our readings. All of these sessions are free online to join. We do them on Zoom. We have several sessions a week, sometimes several sessions a day, or all sorts of different times. You can be one of us if you want to be, or you can just continue enjoying the content from afar. Reading today, the part originally essayed by Francis, reading Porter as well as Dorastus, and reading some post-show speeches is...
Briony, Sparrow, actor in Lincolnshire.
Reading Primus, Cephisus, Clinias, and a letter, in fact, a post-show letter is...
Hi, I'm Aragon. I am a letter all the time.
Reading Secundus, Tyresias, and Cloris is...
Hi, Alan Scott. I'm already confused.
Reading Tertius, Lyriope, Florida, Echo, and also one of the post-show speeches is...
Sarah Blake, actor, writer, and director in Germany.
And reading the prologue, Narcissus, someone who we've labelled One with Bucket, as well as some post-show speeching is...
Hello, I'm Emma Kemp. I'm an actor based in London.
Yes, there's some bucket action coming up later on. If anything I said earlier wasn't enough to get you on board, then the appearance of a bucket definitely will. I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I'll be reading stage directions, and also I could do a little bit of text as well. So we begin pre-show with some sort of induction sequence, for indeed we've all had a lovely supper. And enter the porter at the end of the supper.
Master and mistress with all your guests, God save you, herein the matter rests. Christmas is now at the point to be past. 'Tis giving up the ghost, and this is the last. And shall it pass thus, without life or cheer? This hath not been seen this many a year. If you'll have any sport, then say the word. Here come youths of the parish that will it afford. They are here hard by coming along, crowning their wassail bowl with a song. They have some other sport too, out of doubt. Let me alone, and I will find it out. I am your porter and your vassal. Shall I let in the boys with their wassail? Say, they're at the door. To sing they begin. Go then, I'll go and let them in.
Enter the wassail, 2 of them bearing the bowl and singing the song, and all of them bearing the burden. Gentiles all, both great and small, sit close in the hall and make some room, for amongst you here at the end of your cheer with our country bear we are bold to come. Here's then a full carouse, let it go about the house, while we do carry it thus, 'tis no great labour. Heave it up merrily, let care and anger fly, a pin for poverty, drink to your neighbour. Those that are wise do know that with spice God Bacchus' juice is wholesome and good. It comforts age, it refresheth the sage, it rebateth rage, and cheereth the blood. Then here's then a full carouse, let it go about the house. Take it with quickness, 'tis physic for sickness, it driveth the thickness of care from the heart. The veins that are empty it filleth with plenty, not one among 20, but it easeth of smart. Are you sad for fortune bad, and would be glad as ever you were, if that a quaff do not make you loff? Then with a staff drive me out of door. To tell you his merits, good thoughts it inherits, it raiseth the spirits and quickens the wit, that peoples the veins, it scoureth the reins, it purgeth the brains, and makes all things fit. It makes a man bold, it keeps out the cold, he hath all things twice told unto his comfort. He stands in the middle, the world, hey, derry diddle, goes round without a fiddle, to make them a sport. Here's then a full carouse. Let it go about the house, while we do carry it thus, 'tis no great labour.
Why, well said, my lads of metal. This is somewhat yet, 'tis trimly done. But what sport, what merriment, all dead, no virtue extant?
Pray, sir, get our good mistress to bestow something on us, and we're gone.
Talk of that tempore venturo. There's no going to any other houses now. Your bowl is at the bottom, and that which is left is for me.
Hey, good Master Porter.
Come, come, dance as a Morris, or else go sell fish. I warrant you'll make as good a night of it here as if you had been at all the houses in the town.
Nay, pray let's go. We can do nothing.
No. What was that I took you all a gabbling together? What was that I took you all a gabbling t'other day in Mother Bunch's backside by the well there, when Tom at Hobbs ran under the hovel with a kettle on's head?
Why, you would not have a play, would you?
Oh, by all means, 'tis your only fine course. About it, lads, have a stamp. I warrant you a reward sufficient. I tell you, my little wind-suckers, had not a certain melancholy engendered with a nipping dolour overshadowed the sunshine of my mirth, I had been a pre-secor, one of your consorts. Where's Goody Hubbard's son? I saw him in his mother's holiday clothes enow.
Do you hear, Master Porter? We have pitiful nails in our shoes. You had best lay something on the ground, else we shall make abominable scars on the face on it.
Rem tenors. Well, we'll think on it.
'Tis a most condolent tragedy we shall move.
Dictum puta, satis est quod suffocat.
I' faith, I tickle them for a good voice.
Sufficiente quantitate. A word is enough to the wise.
You have no buttered beer in the house, have you?
No, trudge. Some of the guests are on the point to be gone.
Have you ever a gentlewoman's picture in the house, or no?
Why?
If you have, do but hang it yonder, and 'twill make me act in Coney.
Well then, away about your gear.
And they exit. Let's just pause there to take stock. There does seem to be references to something or some entertainment or something Gabbling t'other day at Mother Bunch's backside by the well there. It does feel like that's referencing a show that was on, they organised a while back, of which we know nothing. It feels self-referential. I could be missing the point there. Obviously, it's got subtle jokes like Mother Bunch's backside by the, I don't think we're missing something there in terms of what that's alluding to. But we've got this lovely wassail song as they hand round the bowl and sing, and that was really fun to do, and there were some lovely bits in that. We've got audience participation. Shall I let the boys in with their wassail? I'm sorry, that's clearly an asking the audience for a response there. There's a lot of little bits where I'm sort of going, okay, I think I know pretty much where the Latin is going for a lot of this, but... It is kind of thing I'm just going, okay, yes, should double check some of that. But it's not getting too much in the way. But yeah, thoughts from the room about this this moderately self-indulgent entertainment so far? Any thoughts? Eric?
I'm particularly fond of the vocabulary of the porter. He's like, let me tell you my little wind suckers, or just things like that sort of. I know you were gabbling the other day, and so on and so forth. Or I don't know, it just feels very fun and conversational, and totally not like what we've been reading.
Yeah, I mean that whole sentence. I mean, windsuckers we've had somewhere else. I don't know if it's later or earlier. I can't remember. I'm sure we've had that before. But I like, just I had not a certain melancholy engendered with a nipping dolour overshadowed the sunshine of my mirth. I mean, this porter has got one hell of a way of talking, and he's the one dropping all the Latin as well. Obviously, he's porter to a college, so you would sort of expect that. And he's sort of talking about all the boys being not necessarily of the college as well, that they're outsiders, which is kind of the point of this kind of entertainment, that they're outsiders. Whether they literally are outsiders or whether they're just pretending to be outsiders is perhaps a moot point. Alan?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that the porter, I think you said, was in fact the author of the piece, or potentially the author of the piece. It almost feels like a posh chap trying to do what he thinks a porter ought to be doing. I mean, there's some lovely constructions in there. There's also some words which I'm not sure whether they're artifacts in the way that the thing has come down to us, which don't quite make sense, which maybe need a bit more tidying up. I mean, the last line I had, make me act in Coney, was how I read it, but I can't. That's the nearest I could see to what it's got printed, but I'm not sure the context.
No, I have to say I didn't either. I just left it as writ because I didn't want to accidentally modernize it into out of its actual meaning. So I'm not 100% certain there. Eric?
My question was basically, they've come in from the cold, they've done their drinking, and all that's left is basically enough for the porter, and he's going, you can't go anywhere else. You've drunk my wine. So you have to stay and sort of perform in return. But I do like the bit, you don't want a play, you mad person. How dare you ask for a play of all things?
Well, it's a bit of an imposition because all they yeah, you're right. All they're really there to do is turn up, offer some good cheer, offer some wine, and then move on to the next place and do the same, and maybe get a few coins and then go. And he's going, no, hang on, that's not good enough. We want to play as well. And he's going, hang on, we haven't brought a play. We haven't got anything. No, I heard you the other day. You were talking about doing a thing. You can do it. Come on, 5 minutes, off you go. Which is sort of the conceit of it all, that they haven't rehearsed and they don't know what they're doing. Eric?
It is kind of like they've turned up at the door singing jingle bells, and he's like, come tell us a play. Well, except obviously they're old enough to drink in this context. We hope. I just love the intro.
There is no meaningful division as to when you can drink in those days. Everybody drank from pretty much from the cradle. Anyway, well, let's move on. We, having had all of this introduction, as it were, we now get a prologue. Enter the prologue.
We are no vagabonds. We are no arrant rogues that do run with plays about the country. Our play is good, and I dare farther warrant it will make you more sport than cat in plum tree. We are no saucy common playing skipjacks, but town-born lads, the king's own lovely subjects. This is the night latest of the 12. Now give us leave for to be blithe and frolic. Tomorrow we must fall to dig and delve. Will be but short, long sitting breeds the colic. Then we begin, and let none hope to hiss us.
Boo,
Play we play
hiss,
is of its
boo,
own
hiss.
Narcissus.
Sorry, say that last line again. I apologise.
The play we play is of its own Narcissus.
And what I'm calling scene 1. Scene divisions will vary depending on your point of view. Cephisus, Lyriope, and Narcissus are in this scene.
Open thine ears, my son, open, I bid, to hear the sound so which the sage shall read. I mean the sage Tyresias, my duck, which I shall lay ope to thee thy lot, thy luck. My father, I, Cephisus, that brave river who is all water, do like water shiver, as any man of judgment may describe by face, hands washed in blood, thy father, I.
And I, thy mother nymph, as may be seen by colours that I wear, blue, white, and green. For nymphs are the colour of the sea, and sea is right of colour truly green, and blue, and white. Would you know how, I pray? Billows are blue, water is green, and foam is white of hue.
We both bid thee, Narcissus, our dearest child, with countenance sober, modest looks, and mild, to prophet's wisest words with tension hearken. But sun is gone, and welkin begins to hearken. Vulcan the weary horses is a-shoeing, while Phoebus with Queen Thetis is a-doing. Prophet comes not, let's go both all in and all in some. We may go home like fools as we did come.
Oh, stay, dear husband. Flow not away, bright water. The prophet will come by sooner or later.
Why stand we here as it were caps a-thrumming to look for prophet? Prophet is not coming.
Sweet running river, which Cephisus height, whose water is so clear, whose waves so bright. Gold is thy sand, and crystal is thy current. Thy brook so clear that no vile wind dare stir it. Thou art my father, and thou, sweetest nymph, thou art my mother. I, thy son, thy shrimp. Agree you in one point, to go or tarry. Narcissus must obey, aye, must he marry.
Gush, water, gush, run, river, from thy channel. Thou hast a son more loving than a spaniel. With watery eyes I see how 'tis expedient to have a son so wise and so obedient. Most beauteous son, yet indeed not so beautiful as thou art mannerly and dutiful.
See, husband, see. Oh, see where prophet blind in twice good time is coming here behind.
Oh, here he is, and now that he's come nigh us, lie close, good wife and son, least he espy us.
Enter Tiresias.
All you that see me here in Bishop's Rocher, I see not, your heads may run on crochet. For aught I know, to know what manner wight in this strange guise I am, or how I height. I am Tiresias, the not-seeing prophet. Blind though I be, pray let no man scoff it. For blind I am, yea, blind as any beetle, and cannot see a whit, no ne'er so little. Here are no eyes, why they're in my mind, whereby I see the fortunes of mankind. Who made me blind? Jove? I may say to you, no, but it was Jove's wife and his sister Juno. Juno and Jove fell out, both big as gods, and I was he to cut the merry odds. You know it all, I'm sure 'tis somewhat common, and how besides 7 years I was a woman, which if you know, you do know all my state. Come on, I'll fold the fortune of your fate.
Trembling Tiresias, I pray you cease to travel and rest a little on the groundy gravel.
Who is't calls? Speak, for I cannot see.
4 friends, sir, to the number of some 3.
What would you have?
Why, sir, this is the matter. To be plain with you and not to flatter, I am the stately river height Cephisus, smoother than glass and softer than ice. This nymph before you here, whom you do see, is my own wife. I clipped Lyriope. Though with the daub of praise I am loath to loam her, this I'll assure you, the blind poet Homer saw not the like amongst his nymphs and goddesses, nor in his Iliads, no, nor in his Odysseys. Think not, I pray, that we are come for naught. Our lovely infant have we to you brought. The purple hue of this, our jolly stripling, I would not have you think was got with tippling. He is our son Narcissus, no common varlet. Nature in rain hath dyed his face in scarlet. Speak, then, I pray you speak, for we you portune that you would tell our son his fortune.
Do not shrink back, Narcissus. Come and stand. Hold up, and let the blind man see thy hand.
Come, my young son, hold up and catch audacity. I see thy hand with the eyes of my capacity. Though I speak riddles, think not I am tipsy, for what I speak, I learned it of a gypsy. And though I speak hard words of curomastic, do not, I pray, suppose that I am frantic. The table of thy hand is somewhat ragged, thy mensal line is too direct and cragged. Thy line of life, my son, is too brief, and crosseth Venus' girdle here in chief. And here, O doleful sign, is overthwart in Venus' mount a little prick or wart. Besides here, in the hillock of great Jupiter, Monsieur L'Amour's lies lurking like a sheep biter. What can I make out of this hard construction but doleful dumps, decay, death, and destruction?
O furious fates, O 3-thread thrumming sisters, O fickle fortune, thou art the mistress of this mishap. Why am I longer liver? Run, river, run, and drown thee in the river.
Since this to thee, my son, I do pronounce ill, it shall behove thee for to take good counsel, and that eftsoon. Wisdom, they say, is good. Your parents, Ambo, have done what they could. They can but bring horse to the water brink, but horse may choose whether that horse will drink.
Oh, say, thou holy priest of high Apollo, what harm, what hurt, what change, what chance will follow, that if we may provide that if we can, we may provide a plaster of wholesome herbs to cure this dire disaster.
If I should tell you, you amiss would judge it. I have one salve, one medicine in my budget, and that is this, since you will have me tell, if he himself do never know, farewell.
And exit Tyresias.
Marry, come out. Is his old noddle doting? Here is an old said sore well worth the noting. Will he not know himself? Who shall he then? My boy shall know himself from other men. Ay, and my boy shall live until he die, in spite of profit and in spite of pie. It is an old saw, that it is too late when steed is stolen to shut the stable gate. Therefore take heed. Yet I bethink at Delph on Phoebus' walls is written, Know thyself. Shall he not know himself, and so be laughed on, when as Apollo cries, Noti seaton?
And exeunt. Well, this is subtle verse, written with the intent to move the audience. Yeah, there's some fun rhyming going on here. It's full on opening scene of Panto with fairy godmothers sort of dueling it out, isn't it? It's that kind of verse. Yes, gush water gush, run river from thy channel. Thou hast a son more loving than a spaniel. Subtle, it's not, huh? And some of these rhymes do just seem to be just for the sake of rhyming. It's like, let's just back for infill the rest of that sentence to hit the rhymes. Thoughts from the room? I mean, it's broadly speaking following some proper mythology. Throwing them all together though. Eric.
Well, because Sarah asked this in the chat, and I'm sure people will have the same question at home. The last bit where when Apollo cries "Gnothi seafton," it means Gnothi seafton, which means like sort of know thyself, know like literally in classical Greek. It's I think Socrates, if I remember correctly, but I mean maybe. Know thyself, therefore, before knowing others, kind of thing.
So it's explicated in the line before rather than often with Latin in the line after. Briony.
It's jolly good for something they've just thrown together and been begged to put on almost on the spur of the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd almost think that was a conceit and it wasn't true. Oh, this odd thing, we just had it lying around, you know. Oh, I mean, it's fun, but it's interesting that actually it's not as self-indulgent as I was expecting it. Yes, it's very silly and it's and all that, but it is just actually telling us a story. And so far, and it's telling us, you know, I don't recall Tyresias popping into the opening of Narcissus, but maybe he did. I can't remember. But who cares? You know, it's fine. They're setting up the story of Narcissus reasonably well, so that's fine. Fine by me. Any other thoughts, Alan?
What is it with Greek mythology that two of the lead characters that we keep coming across are both blind, Tiresias and Homer?
Yeah, well, you know, they're both. Well, I mean, debate as to whether Homer is a character or the author. Yeah, Tiresias, the blind prophet, and it explicates his backstory reasonably well. I mean, it's all there. Always a fun part is Tiresias. Anyway, any other thoughts? Okay, let's go into what I'm calling Scene 2, which features Dorastus and Clinias.
Come, prithee, let us go. Come, Clinias, come, and girt thy basket dagger to thy bum. Let us, I say, be packing and go meet the poor blind prophet stalking in the street. Let us be jogging quickly.
Peace, you ass! I smell the footing of Tiresias.
Enter Tiresias.
O thou which hast thy staff to be thy tutor, whose head doth shine with bright hairs white as pewter, like silver moon, when as she kissed her minion, in late mouse mont, the swain eclipsed Endymion, who being called Endymion the drowsy, slept 50 years, and for want of shift was lousy. O thou whose breast I, even this little cantle, is counsel's capcase, prudence's portmantle. O thou that pickest wisdom out of guts, as easy as men do kernels out of nuts. Look in our midriffs, and I pray you tell us, whether we two shall live and die good fellows.
How do you both?
Well, I thank you.
Are you not sickly?
No, I thank God.
Yet you shall both die quickly. Go, thou hast done. Tiresias, bid adieu. Thy part is well played, and thy words are true.
Exit Tiresias.
Shall we die quickly both? I pray, what colour? I'll be a dyer, thou shalt be a fuller. We'll cozen the prophet, I my life will pawn ye. Thou shalt die white, and I'll die orange tawny.
Enter Narcissus, walking.
Oh, eyes, what see you? Eyes, be ever bloodshed that turn your master thus into a cod's head. Oh, eyes, no instruments, oh, engines that were ordained to work your master's vengeance. His huge oriental beauty melts my eyeballs into raindrops, even as sun doth snowballs.
Crack, eye strings crack, run eyes, run back, my lovely brace of beagles, Look no more on yon shining sun, for your eyes are not eagles. Leave off the chase, my pretty brace, and hide you in your kennel, and hunt no more, your sight is sore. Oh, that I had some fennel.
Leave off to brag, thou boy of Venus bred. I am as fair as thou, for white and red. If then twixt me and thee there's no more odds, why I on earth and thou amongst the gods?
Thy voice, Narcissus, so softly and so loud, makes in mine ears more music than a crowd of most melodious minstrels. And thy tongue is edged with silver and with jewels strung. Thy throat, which speaketh ever and anon, is far more shriller than the pipe of Pan. Thy weasand pipe is clearer than an organ. Thy face more fair than was the head of Gorgon. Thy hair, thy hair which bowed to thy neck so fair, dishevels, excels the hair of the fair queen of devils. And
Eric, stop laughing at your own jokes. Are you ready to go?
Apologies. And yeah, it will be fine. Thy hair which about thy neck so fair dishevels, excels the hair of the fair queen of devils. And thy perfumed breath far better savors than does the sweet hot breath of blowing neighbors. Thy azured veins bluer than Saturn shine, and what are Cupid's eyes to those of thine? Thy coral cheeks hath a far better lustre than Ceres when the sun in harvest bust her. Silenus for straight back, and I can tell you put down Bacchus for a slender belly. To pass from branch to bark, from rind to root, Venus her husband hath not such a foot.
O thou whose cheeks are like the sky so blue, whose nose is ruby of the sun-like hue, whose forehead is most plain without all wrinkle, whose eyes like stars in frosty night do twinkle, most hollow are thy eyelids, and thy ball, wither than ivory, brighter yea withal, whose ledge of teeth is far more bright than jet is, whose lips are too good for any lettuce. O do thou condescend unto my boon, grant me thy love, grant it, O silver spoon, silver moon, silver moon.
Grant me thy love, to speak I first began. Grant me thy love granted, O golden sun.
Nor sun, nor moon, nor twinkling star in sky, nor god, nor goddess, nor yet nymph am I. And though my sweet face be set out with ruby, you miss your mark. I am a man as you be.
A man, Narcissus, thou hast a manlike figure, then be not like unto the savage tiger, so cruel as the huge chameleon, nor yet so changing as small elephant. A man, Narcissus, then be not thou a wolf, to devour my heart in thy moor's gripping gulf. Be none of these, and let not nature vaunt her, that she hath made a man like to a panther. A man thou art, Narcissus, and so are we. Then love thou us again, as we love thee.
A man I am, and swear by gods above, I cannot yet find in my heart to love.
Cannot find love in heart? Oh, search more narrow. Thou well shalt know him by his ivory arrow. That arrow, when in breast, my blood was tunning, broached my heart's barrel, set it all a-running, which with love's liquor, unless thou do staunch, all my life's liquor will run out my paunch.
Why would you have me love? You talk most oddly. Love is a naughty thing, and an ungodly.
Is love ungodly? Love is still a god.
But in his nonage, always under rod.
Love
Oh,
Narcissus.
love
we
Narcissus.
beseech
We
thee.
beseech thee. Oh, love.
No love, good Gentiles, I'll assure you. No love.
And exit Dorastus and Clinias. Narcissus goes for a bit of an amble. Okay, well, there's a lot to unpack there. Beyond the fact that Clinias is really not very good at compliments. I mean, there's some unbelievable. I mean, it's a good. At least he said thy face more fair than was the head of Gorgon. I mean, if he said your hair was as good as the head of Gorgon, that would have been even worse. But none of this was great. I think you're trying to be complimentary, but you're just clearly not very good at it. But then Dorastus just gazumps you clearly, because who doesn't want to hear that their lips are too good for any lettuce? Now, that might be just an accidental modernization, that actually it means something else, but I'm fairly certain that that's what it means. It's glorious. It's glorious stuff. Eric.
I suspect this is why these two guys are single.
I mean, yeah, there's part of me that really wants to go into a singles bar and try some of these as chat-up lines, and film the results, because I think, I mean, the rhyming of kennel and fennel, I think, is some rhyming of pure desperation there. That's what I love about these rhymes. They're just, you set up a rhyme you can't finish. With any dignity. Alan.
I must admit, I'm getting vibes from a hell of a lot later than this, because an awful lot of the wordplay is reminding me of people, 20th century Porter and Coward. You could almost see that style of verbal humour, lasting through into this.
I mean, it's all deliberately silly, and it's done with some skill. This isn't a bad writer writing terrible verse. This is a reasonably good writer writing deliberately terrible verse. I'm not going to say it is a work of genius or anything, because some of these are quite obvious, and people have churned out this kind of script from time immemorial. But there's some really good stuff in there. Tiresias, I like, turning up and saying you're both going to die soon. They do a rather bad dye joke, dyeing cloth, get it, stuff. But yeah, I like the way Tiresias sort of writes his own exit cue as well. Right, that's me done. I'm off. Briony.
Yeah, like that, the dye bit was the only bit where it was a bit weak for me, really, because the rest of it, I don't know if it was meant to be as funny as we found it, or if it is like us looking at it with our modern eyes. But yeah, it's been hilarious. It's been a lot of fun to read, because you just don't know what your next line's going to be as well, which is lovely. But the rhyming lasted well as well, because, sometimes with changing in spelling and pronunciation, but we haven't, it's all still rhyming really well.
Yeah, and it's actually one of the few instances where you can say, look, lean into the rhymes that maybe are a bit archaic, because actually that will make it funnier. Normally in plays you don't do that, because you don't mock the change of language, because that's tedious. But actually this is one of the few occasions where you can do that occasionally. Because I stumbled earlier on the rhyme on laugh, because it's down as quaff, laugh, staff, so it's you can't quite make those rhymes match together even with different accents, which is a shame. But there's some good stuff there. Who was waving? Someone else. Eric, were you waving? Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I can't help but wonder what the Narcissus actually looks like in this case, because there's this description of red cheeks, and we heard that earlier as well, and sort of just costuming and all that stuff. I can't help but wonder what on earth they sound like and look like.
Well, his huge oriental beauty melts people's eyeballs. So, we've got helpful descriptors there. We got costume notes earlier, actually, with the nymphs of green, blue, and white. So we have got some costuming clues. Clinias, just to dig down into some of these lines. Venus, her husband, hath not such a foot. Now, that's not, it's not Venus hath not such a, her husband, who's a blacksmith. You know,
who's lived
assuming
long
it's a big, hairy, sweaty foot. Hobbit feet. That's what we're looking at there. So yeah. Yeah, so there's some. I mean, I think with this, where she's just throwing as many gags at you as possible, I can forgive the slightly weak die jokes because you know there's a new gag coming around the corner every few seconds, and we've got a callback to Endymion. Nice call to Endymion. I don't know if that's referencing the play, but it's nice to have it there. It's a text that maybe they know. Anyway, let's move on. Let's find out what else this script is throwing at us this Christmas. Scene 3, as I've labelled it. You may argue it isn't because Narcissus is still on stage, but it's a different unit of action. Enter Florida and Cloris. Or Clois. Clois. Yes, there's no R there. Clois.
Clois, what is't I wis that I do see? What form doth charm this storm within my breast? What face, what grace, what race may that same be? So fair, so rare, debonair breeds this unrest. How white, how bright, how light, like star of Venus, his beams and gleams so stream so fair between us.
'Tis Venus, sure. Why do we stand and palter? Let us go shake our thighs upon the altar.
Most brightest Hesperus, for thou seem'st to me so. Aye, and in very deed thou well mayst be so. For as big as a man is every planet, though it seems afar that we may span it. Shine thou on me, sweet planet, be so good as with thy fiery beams to warm my blood. I'll bear thee light, and think light of the burthen, and say, light planet ne'er was heavy laden.
To speak the truth, fair maid, if you will have us. O Oedipus, I am not, I am Davus.
Good Master Davis, be not so discourteous as not to hear a maiden's plaint for virtuous.
Speak on a god's name, so love be not the theme.
Oh, whiter than a dish of clouted cream. Speak not of love. How can I overskip to speak of love to such a cherry lip?
It would beseem a maiden's slender vacity, never to speak of anything but chastity.
As true as Helen was to Menelaus, so true to thee will be thy Florida.
As was to trusty Primus truest Thisbe, so true to you will ever thy sweet Cloris be.
Oh, do not stay a moment nor a minute. Love is a puddle, I am all shoes in it.
Do not delay us half a minute's mountenance, that are in love with thy sweet countenance.
Then take my dole, although I deal my arms ill. Narcissus cannot love with any damsel, although, for most part, men do love incline all. I will not, I. This is your answer final. And so farewell. March on, dogs. Love's a griper. If I love any, 'tis tickler and piper. Ah, the poor rascal, never joyed it since. His fellow juggler first was juggled hence. Juggler the hope, but now to hunt abroad, where, if I meet love's little miniative god, I'll pay his breach until I make his bum ache. For why? The talk of him hath turned my stomach.
Exit Narcissus.
And is he gone? Let's go and die, sweet Cloris. The poets of our loves shall write the stories.
Enter Clinias, Dorastus, meeting them.
Well met, fair Florida sweet. Which way go you?
In faith, sweet Clinias, I cannot know you.
No, but did you see the white Narcissi?
The whitest man alive a hunting is, he that doth look far whiter than the villet, or moon at midday, or else sky at twilight.
That is the same. Even that is Narcissus. That is that Narcissus. That hath love despised and scorned us.
Not you alone he scorns, but us also. Oh, Do not grieve when maids part stakes in woe. Oh, that same youth's the scummer of all scorn, of Sir Quidry the very shoeing horn, pillar of pride, casting top of contempt, stupple of state lines for taking vent. Many youths, many maids sought him to gain, no youths, no maids could ever him obtain. Then thus I pray, and hands to heaven upleave, so may he love, and ne'er his love achieve. Look you for maids no more, our part is done. We come but to be scorned, and so are gone.
Exeunt.
But we have more to do than have we Purdy. We must fish and hunt the hare so hardy. For even as after hare runs swiftest beagle, so doth Narcissus our poor heart's corn eagle.
So, some more classic stuff here. I like the self-aware meta stuff of going, there no more women in this show. We are literally, this is our entire function within the narrative. We're done, and then the other characters going, no, we've got another bit coming up. Just on the general note of slight awkwardness is that we have rather an extreme angle of the sort of white beauty standard thing going on here. Hopefully we don't go in the other direction of actively going against in the other direction. I'm fingers crossed that we don't go suddenly actively racist. Yes, so far it's very much in the background, and there's some good wordplay still going on here. I'm sure Ake possibly had more of a ack sound to it as well, so it probably rhymed better than it currently does. But it's still a great exit line from Narcissus there, yeah, there's some really love thing. Loves a puddle. I am shoes in it. I want to use that. I'm not sure what to do with the line, let us go shake our thighs upon the altar. I'm really not sure what to make of that one.
That's what you say after the lettuce line works in the singles bar.
Yeah. Hi. Would you like to... No. Shall we go shake our thighs upon the altar? No, I'm not trying that one. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, more people going "Fwah!" Basically, that's this scene. Narcissus still having nothing to do with it. I don't know whether debonair means exactly the same thing as it does today, but the so fair, so rare debonair is a delightful midline rhyming thing. Yeah, I'm still enjoying this, very much so. Let's see if it outstays its welcome as we go forward. Scene 4, enter Echo.
Who, why, wherefore, from whence or what I am, know if you can, that Echo is my name, that cannot speak a word, nor half a syllable, unless you speak before so intelligible. But ho, the hobby horse, you'll think't absurd, that I should of myself once speak a word. 'Tis true, but let your wisdoms tell me then, how do you know Echo from another man? I was a well-tongued nymph, but what of that? My mother Juno still to hold in chat, with tales of tubs, from thence I ever strove, while nymphs abroad lay always under Jove. But oh, when drift was spied, my angry grammar made ever since my tottering tongue to stammer, and now in wild woods and in moist mountains, in high tall valleys and in steepy plains, Echo I live, Echo, surnamed the doleful, that in remembrance now could weep a bowlful, or rather, if you will, Echo the sorrowful, that in remembrance now could weep a barrowful.
Yolpy, yolpy. Yes, exit with the cries of the song that's going to follow next as we go straight into scene 5, where Dorastus, Narcissus, and Clinias in theory are entering singing this song. Hark, they cry, I hear by that the dogs have put the hare from quat, when woe be unto little Wat. Yelp, 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 yelp. Hollow in the hind dog's hollow, so come on then, solo, solo, and let us so blithely follow. Yelp, 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 yelp. Oh, the dogs are out of sight, but the cry is my delight. Hark, how Jumble hits it right. Yelp, 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 yelp. Over briars, over bushes, who's afeard of pricks and pushes? He's no hunter worth 2 rushes. Yelp, 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 yelp. But how long thus shall we wander? Oh, the hare's a lusty stander. Follow apace, the dogs are yonder. Yelp, 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 yelp. Exit. I think we'll just briefly pause there before we go straight into the next scene. We had mentions of dogs earlier, so these are so that's obviously a dog singing song with Narcissus and his hounds, presumably. Yeah, dogs singing, and Echo walking on saying, "I can't speak unless somebody else speaks first." You may have noticed there's an inherent contradiction in this speech. Yeah. And then it's like at the end, it's like Echo knows they've done a really bad joke, so they're just going to pause and do it again in a slightly different format. So it's like, I've rhymed doleful with bowlful, now I'm going to do sorrowful with barrowful. It's like you're expecting a groan after the first one, and you want to milk it for the audience. It's like, maybe Echo has more, and it's just not in the script, and you could actually do that for 20 minutes. Until the audience loses the will to live. It's that kind of show. Any thoughts in the room? No. AS. Eric.
Well, I guess it's kind of that thing where Echo is probably just, I mean, the person playing Echo was probably like, give me more lines. I must speak more lines. So obviously they wrote this, or, yeah. For Echo, because it would just either be sort of echoing everybody else, which is kind of it's fun, but also can be kind of boring.
Yeah, we're going to see whether it's fun / boring when Echo gets really into their echoing business in a moment. Sarah.
I know the song is meant to be Dorastus, Narcissus, and Clinias, but in my head I kind of see people dressed up as dogs, so the dogs are actually doing it, and I know that wouldn't quite make sense with the words because it's like they're following the dogs but I just really want to see like a little chorus line of dogs.
There's no reason why there can't also be a chorus line of dogs going yelp, 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 yelp. Yeah. I'm open to lots of people dressed up as dogs. That's entirely fine. And in fact, if this does become something we do at the Christmas party, that's probably what I'm going to encourage a number of people to do. I feel that that's exactly our Christmas thing. Okay, we're getting to the scene we've all been waiting for. Scene 6, as I've labelled it. Enter one with a bucket and bowels and grass.
A well there was, withouten mud, of silver hue, with waters clear, whom neither sheep that chew the cud, shepherds nor goats came ever near, whom, truth to say, nor beast nor bird, nor windfalls yet from trees had stirred.
He straws the grass about the bucket.
And round about it there was grass, as learned lines of poets show, which by next water nourished was.
Sprinkles water.
Ne'er to it woo a wood did grow.
Sets down the boughs.
To keep the place, as well I wot, with too much sun from being hot, and thus, lest you should have mistook it, the truth of all I to you tell. Suppose you the well had a bucket, and so the bucket stands for the well, and 'tis, lest you should count me for a sot o', a very pretty figure called Pass Pro Toto.
Okay, so yeah, we've got the game of we can't afford a well. I brought on a bucket. This will stand in for well. I am going to cast some grass and stuff to build a scene. Sarah.
I love the fact that that whole scene is basically a stage direction, but it's like the props are so crap, we actually have to tell the audience what we're doing.
Yeah. There's supposed to be a well. Yeah. And it's just some of the rhyming here is also good. It's like the mistook it, and I'm waiting for the bucket to come, and the sot oh. I mean, oh God. So, yeah. Emma, walking stage direction.
Yes. I'm going to guess that the sprinkling water is getting the audience wet, right? Kind of a bit panto-esque.
Yeah. I think all of this is panto-esque. I mean, this is exactly this that kind of energy, isn't it? Sarah, then Eric.
Or it could be one of those things where you've got the bucket of water and you swing it round a few times and then you swing it at the audience, and it's actually full of glitter.
Yeah. Or Satan's sand, as it's otherwise known. Eric.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's sort of it's basically kids make, like, the way it's written. It's kind of like when kids pretend, they kind of play dress up kind of thing, and this is going to be my bucket and I'm going to put it here and it's going to be the well that Narcissus will look into. It just feels very sort of over explanatory.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Even at university, some of the students could be quite young. Not young per se, but younger than you'd think, and certainly younger than modern students. So there could be a quality to the one with bucket doesn't have many lines. So unless it's the porter again, which it's not impossible that it is. Briony.
I don't know if I should or not. I just wanted to say, well.
Thank you. I think we've hit our level for today. Okay, let's go on. I've labelled this as a series of different scenes, but I think we can think of pretty much after the dogs that this is one ongoing scene running into itself. Let's let it run. Let's give it its head. Scene 7, as I've called it, enter Dorastus, Echo answering him from within, so from a distance.
Narcissus?
Yes, us.
Kiss you? Who are you? Whither bots take you?
Bots take you.
Bots take me, you rogue?
You rogue.
Slid, he retorts word for word.
Word for word.
Clinias, prithee, where art thou, Clinias?
In ye ass?
In where? In a ditch?
Itch.
What is his business?
At his business.
You don't tell me truly.
You lie.
Say so again, I'll cudgel you duly.
You do lie.
Of your terms you are very full.
You're a very fool.
Do you crow? I shall crack your coxcomb.
Coxcomb.
I shall make you whine and blubber.
Lubber.
You'll make an end and dispatch.
Patch.
Go to, you'll let these words pass.
Ass.
If you come to, I'll make you sing in palinody.
Noddy.
Fool, coxcomb, lubber, patch and noddy. Are these good words to give a body? Do not provoke me, I shall come.
Come.
Meet me if you dare.
If you dare.
I come, despair not.
Spare not.
And exit. Enter Clinias, Echo answering within still.
Dorastus, where art thou, Dorastus?
I'm sorry, I managed to keep the straight face all through the loss.
Oh, come on, it's not the first ass
No,
gag we've had.
I-
If it
I-
had in your ass
I managed
earlier,
to get through that one, but then this was just one ask too many. Sorry. Right.
Clinias, give the line again, please.
Yeah.
Give Echo the cue.
I have to unmute myself. Dorastus, where art thou, Dorastus?
Ask to us.
Ask to you? Who's that said ask to you?
You.
Know me for what I am, as good as yourself.
Elf.
Oh, why? I hope you bent so mild part.
All apart.
All apart, yes, we are alone, but do you not mean to fight? I trust in Jove.
Trust in Jove.
Jove helps then if we fight, but we trust to our swords.
Words.
Words. Why do you think this your words shall help us to fright?
Right.
'Tis no such matter. You're mightily out.
Loud.
Loud. Dost abuse me so. Go to your skull scab.
Rascal scab.
Rascal scab, why thou groom base and needy?
Needy.
Slid, if I meet you, I'll bang you.
Hang you.
Nay then, I'll be at hand, keep ye, pick purse.
Pick purse.
Dare you use me thus to my face, spider?
I dare.
But will you stand to it and not flinch?
Not flinch.
Well, meet me. I'm like iron and steel, trusty.
Rusty.
Rusty, what? Mock me to my face again.
Us again.
Out of doubt, if we meet, I shall thee box.
Ox.
Why, the fool rides me. I'm spurgled and jolted.
Jolthead.
Jolthead, this is more than I can brook.
Rook.
Rook 2, nay then, as far as the knocking goes, I'm yours to command, sir.
Come on, sir.
And into the next sequence, enter Narcissus to this, we can assume the exit, yes, exit of Clinias, enter Narcissus to this hilarious set piece.
Oh, I am weary. I have run today 10 miles, nay, and a quarter, I dare say. You may believe it, and my joints are numb, and every finger truly is a thumb. For my young hunters, Clinias and Dorastus, surely so far today they have outpassed us, that here I am, encompassed round about, and do not know the way nor in nor out. What? Holla! Holla!
Holla. Holla.
Is anybody nigh?
I.
Come near.
Come near.
Whither?
Hither.
Prithee, help me fall, else I am the rude wood's forfeiture.
Fair feature.
Oh Lord, sir, 'tis but your pleasure to call it so.
It's so.
I had rather have your counsel how to get out of this labyrinth.
Labyrinth.
Labyrinth? Why, so I do, sore against my will. But to labour out of it, what shall I do?
Do.
Nay, pray help me out if you love me.
Love me.
Come near then. Why do you fly?
Why do you fly?
Where be ye?
Here be.
Let us come together.
Let us come together.
I prithee, come.
I come.
Let me die first, ere thou meddle with me.
Meddle with me.
And exit. Yes, I don't know whether that's just our modern minds with the I come moment, whether that has an early modern association, but it works very well for the scene. So yeah, we've got it also actually with Narcissus's entrance there, it really actually shows what was going on with the dog's song actually as well. So Narcissus is chasing the dogs. He's being chased by Dorastus and Clinias. So it's actually a chase sequence as well as a song. So there's a huge amount of potential there. If also we have dogs, and also maybe what the dogs are chasing, we have got a lot of potential for that short song to really make that into a very, very silly sequence that could be really rather fun. Okay, all of the I love the way that we get the third time we get the ass joke, it's ass again. It's actually very knowingly going, it's the same joke. Yeah, self-indulgent, but if done at pace, and with occasional gestures of going, that one doesn't work, it's like, what am I to do? Microphone and reverb, I feel, is important for echo as well. Any thoughts in the room beyond the obvious? I feel that echo should be positively climaxing by the end of that scene, because it does seem to be moving it in that direction. Eric.
I have to say, I do enjoy early modern echoes, even if they're not in this play. But I mean, they always select the words that they wish to sort of echo. Yeah, I like how Echo decides that Narcissus is too pretty to be messed with. So she just kind of goes, "Well, come near," as opposed to sort of pissing him off. Which
Yes.
basically pisses him off anyway, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so Echo is being playful and deliberately messing with the first two, who are now going to think that they're fighting each other, that they have a beef with each other, so they're going to go and fight, presumably, which was predicted earlier, whereas actually Echo is definitely amorously interested in Narcissus. Poor thing. Meddle with me. Yeah, that's yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. I think that'd be wise. Let us move on to the well, we're almost at what we could call the climax, actually. So what I'm calling scene 10, but you could really probably break it down to only into 2 or 3 scenes, actually. Enter Dorastus, Clinias at doors.
Was to you, Dorastus, mocked me all the season?
Pray, Clinias, hold your tongue. You have little reason to make a fool of me and mock me too.
Nay, sir, 'twas you that mocked me, so you do. While here I called for you by Greenwood side. You jibed on me, which you shall dear abide.
Nay, you did call me that I was loath to hear. Truly, such words as a dog would not bear. But as I scorn so to be asked and knaved, so truly do I scorn to be outbraved.
Oh, frying pan of all fritters of fraud, that my cinderfer that long hath been on broad shall come out of his sheath most fiery hot, and slice thee small even as herbs to pot.
Thou huge and humming humblebee, thou hornet, come, do thy worst. I say that I do scorn it.
Oh, with thy blood I'll make so red my winard as ripest liquor as of grapes in vineyard.
And with thy blood I'll make my sword so ruddy as sky at eventide shall not be so bloody.
They fight and fall.
Oh, about my heart I feel a pain. Dorastus, hold thy hands, for I am slain.
This shall thy comfort be when thou art dead, that thou hast killed me too, for I am sped.
Oh, I am dead, depart life out of hand, stray soul from home unto the Stygian strand.
Go thou, my ghost, complain thee unto Radamant, that the sisters' hearts are made of adamant.
Since we must pass o'er lake and Charon's ferry, had we Narcissus, we should be more merry.
My soul doth say that we must go before. Narcissi will overtake us at the shore, and that mocked us both deformed dwarf will ere it be long arrive at Charon's wharf.
Let us, Dorastus, die, depart, decease. We loved in strife, and let us die in peace.
Stay, take me with you. Let's together go. Vile world, adieu. We die. Oh, 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 oh.
Enter Narcissus.
Does the hag follow? Stay for her, never durst I. She has made me run so long that I am thirsty. But, oh, ye gods immortal, by good fortune, here is a well in good time and opportune. Drink, drink, Narcissus, till thy belly burst. Water is Rhenish wine to them that thirst. But oh, remain and let thy crystal lip no more of this same cherry water sip. What deadly beauty, or what airy nymph is here below, now seated in the lymph? Look, look, Narcissus, how his eyes are silver. Look, least those eyes thy heart from thee do pilfer. Yet, oh, look not, for by these eyes so heady, thy heart from thee is filched away already. Oh, well, how oft I kissed thy wholesome liquor, while on my love kisses I heap a dicker. Oh, love, come forth according to my mind. How deep I dive, yet thee I cannot find. Oh, love, come forth. My face is not so foul, that thou shouldst scorn me. Pity me, poor soul. Well, dost thou scorn me? Nymphs they did not so. They had a better thought of me, I trow. Not care of Ceres, Morpheus, nor of Bacchus, that is meat, drink, and sleep, from hence shall take us. Here will I die. This well shall be my tomb. My web is spun. Cephisus, lock thy loom.
Lies down and rises up again.
Tell me, you woods, tell me, you oaks so strong, whether in all your life so long, so fair a youth pined thus, and tell me truly, whether that any man e'er loved so cruelly. The thing I like I see, but what I see and like, nonetheless I cannot find, Purdy. And that grieves my liver most, no seas, surging mountains, monstrous or weary ways, nor walls with gates is shut, do me remove. A little water keeps me from my love. Come out, dear boy.
Come out, dear boy.
Friend I am. Oh, do not me destroy. Thou dost put out thy hand as I do mine, and thou dost pick upon me with thy eyne. Smile as I smile. Besides, I took good keep, and saw thee eke shed tears when I did weep. And by thy lips moving, well I do suppose, words thou dost speak may well come to our nose, or to our ears I'm sure they never pass, which makes me to cry out, alas!
Alas,
Oh, delicate pretty youth,
pretty youth,
take on my woes pity, youth.
pity youth,
Oh, sweetest boy, pray love me,
pray love me.
or else I die for thee.
I die for thee.
Colour is gone and blood in face is thin, and I am naught left now but bone and skin. I die, but though I die, it shall come to pass. Certes it shall, that I, which whilom was, the flower of youth, shall be made flower again. I die, farewell. O boy, beloved in vain.
O boy beloved in vain.
And Narcissus presumably lies down and then rises up again.
And so I died, and sunk into my grandam, surnamed old earth. Let not your judgments random, for if you take me for Narcissus, you're very silly. I desire you to take me for a daffodowne billy, for so I rose, and so I am in troth, as may appear by the flower in my mouth.
Now, auditors of intelligence quick, I pray you suppose that Echo is sick at the heart, for you must think, for lack of love, she could nor eat nor drink, so that of her nothing remained but bone, and that, they say, was turned into a stone. Only her voice was left, as by good hap you may perceive, if you impart a clap.
Rapturous applause. Enter the porter as Epilogue.
Are those the lads that would do the deed? They may be gone, and God be their speed. I'll take up their bucket, but I swear by the water, I have seen a far better play at the theatre. I'll shut them out of doors, 'tis no matter for their largesse. For their larges, think you well of my service, and I'll bear the charges. If there be any that expect some dances, 'tis I must perform it, for my name is Francis.
And maybe Francis does a little dance. Yeah, I do like the idea that the porter just has to come on and tidy up and do the get out, because all the actors have buggered off. And I've seen a better play at the theatre. Wasn't impressed. I've seen the professionals do it, mate. Yeah, mate. Yeah. So yeah, we have two people fight and die. Oh, a viled world, adieu, we die. No indication as to whether they exit the stage at any point, whether they're still lying there. I think there's a lot of potential business of tripping over corpses that might be option there. Narcissus has got all this option of how do you play the scene into the bucket or not into the bucket, or how much is where do you go? And of course, constantly lying down and then immediately getting back up again. And constantly dying but never quite dying, and then of course getting up and saying, "You shouldn't be sad if I'm dead. Shouldn't be sad. It's fine. Not really me." It's an old joke, but it works well. That was fun. There's some more material we get to go, but that's the play, as it were. Eric.
Yeah, I was just wondering if, because also you were mentioning whether there's tripping over corpses and stuff. I just imagine that like they kind of kill each other and then get up by themselves and walk off, which is sort of very okay, sort of, I don't know, just fun. Also, that scene was very like dead, deceased, completely dead, or whatever. It just felt very
Bereft of life.
Pushing up the daisies.
Yeah, giving up the ghost and so on and so forth. It just feels a very Dead Parrot sketch.
Yes, it does. And again, there's that question of how much room is there for improvisation of additional lines there, and as well, because the script is very tight, but it does suggest that there is options for ad-libs in here, and on the whole. There's a couple of bits where I'm sort of just going, I'm not quite sure what Dorastus and Clinias are actually saying as they're calling on their deaths. It's like, we've got some words and we've got some, I need to find something that rhymes with wharf. What are we going to say? Something that's a bit awkward. But it's just like, they're just saying these things and radamants and stuff, and it doesn't quite really mean anything, really, apart from just stuff. So, yeah. Okay. Alan.
Physically, I think Michael Green wrote the script on that scene with those two. They obviously prolong the death for as long as they can get away with it.
This whole thing,
in terms of stage business.
This whole thing is the art of course acting, basically. Which, if you've never read it, we can heartily recommend. We're not in any way affiliated with the works of Michael Green or his publishers, but just pointing out that as a disclaimer. Just it's a fun read. If you've never read it, it's the closest. It's the best acting training book ever, bar none. You'll learn more about practical stagecraft from the art of course acting than you will from anything else. Most importantly, how not to die on stage, as well as how to die on stage. Make sure it's in a comfortable position, ideally behind something. Okay, we have, after the show, there were a series of speeches, most I think pretty much all of them by the porter, but we've handed them out to Francis, the porter, Francis Clark, seems to do a series of speeches to different people in the room. I've handed them out to different people because I'm nice that way, but I've handed them out to people, which is mean of me because there's a lot of random Latin and stuff in there. Just say it quickly and don't worry about it too much. Apart from the rest, the stuff in English, take your time because I think there's some interesting stuff in there. We would not perform any of this stuff, I don't think. We're just doing it for history. So, Briony, you are post-show pontification number 1. So this is a speech made for the aforesaid porter, who pronounced it in the hall before most of the house and master president, that had sconced him groats for letting the fiddlers in the hall at Christmas. So, take it away.
Ille ego qui condam, I am he that in old season have made Lily leap out of his skin, and with a muster of sentences out of his syntaxes have besieged the ears of the audience in the behalf of the wretched. But alas, mihi isthik nec seritor nec metitor. It is to me neither a sorry turn nor a merry turn. I have sifted out for other men's sakes the flower of my fancy, that I have left nothing but the bran in my brain. And yet who is there amongst them that in the depth of my distress will speak for the poor porter, who melts the muses into mourning, or turns Parnassus into plaints, Helicon into heaviness, Apollo into an apology, for my sake? My learning goeth not beyond Lily, nor my reading beyond my rules. Yet have I for them so canvassed their concavity that I have opened their entrails, so dived into the depth of them that I have manifested their marrow, so pried into their profundity that I have placed the very pith of them before you. And alas, that I should now speak for myself, what remains for me but the rind and the bark, when I have given the root and the body to others? What remains for me but the shell, when I have given others the substance? What remains for me but the curds, when I have given others the cream? Yea, what is left for me but the parings, when I have given others the pears? But I therein made known my valour, for you know, aliorum vitia cernere oblivisci suorum, to supply other men's wants and to forget his own. Proprium est stultitio, is part of a stout man. Since then I must speak for myself. Stat mihi casus renovare omnes. You shall hear the whole case and the course of it. Sub nocte silente, in nocte vel Paulo ante noctum cum spectator in ignibus aurum. When you have seen gold in the fire shines so like gold. Ecce per opaca locorum came the fiddlers creeping along, densa subter testudine casus, their instruments under their arms, in their cases, and at length. Itum est in viscera terrare, broke open into the heart of the hall. Neither, when they were there, could they be content to warm their fingers by the fire and be gone, though I would have persuaded them thereto, but juvat usque morari et confere gradum. They would needs stay and have the youth dance. But oh, to see, woe to see, that pleasure is but a pinch and felicity but a Philippe. When as juvat ire per altum, some were cutting capers aloft in the air, canit similiter huic, and they likewise, with their minstrelsy, fitting it to their footing, all on a sudden. Subito, I may say to them, but repent to me, their sport was spoiled, their music marred, their dancing dashed with a vox hominem sonat, with a voice, with an awful voice. Hoacine fieri flagitia. Are these the fruits of the fires? Satur e me, sto satur ab illis, stant. They that even now scraped so fast with their sticks, fell now to scraping faster with their legs. Their fum-fum was turned to mum-mum, and their pleasant melody to most pitiful making of faces. But when they looked at their fiddles, should have flyin about their ears, their calf-skin cases about their calves' head pates, as the sun shines brightest through a shower, so did softness in the midst of severity. There was no more said to them, but tic his ait eripe flammis. They were best, since they had made many men's heels warm with shaking, to cool their own by quaking without door. But the more mercy was showed before, the less was left for me. Had I been dealt with so mercifully, I had not need to have come with this exclamation. Or had it been but gratia ab officio, but a groat out of mine office, I should not have stonied the stones, nor rented the rocks with my dolorous outcries. But when it shall come to denari dicit quod denos, when 10 groats shall make a muster together, and sit heavy on my head, actum est illicet, the porter perit. O weathercock of wretchedness that I am, seated on the maypole of misfortune, whither shall I turn, or to whom shall I look for relief? Shall I speak to my minstrels for money? Why, they have already forsaken me, to the verifying of the old proverb, quantum quisque sua numerorum servat in arca, tantum habet et fide. As long as a man hath money in his purse, so long he shall have the fiddlers. What is to be looked for any of them that will do nothing without pay, and hard money for their harmony? Shall I speak to my friends? Why, nullus ad amissas ibit amicus opes. Oh, then let me run to the spear of Achilles, recorded by ancient philosophers, which first hurt me and last can heal me. Let my penitency find pity, and my confession move compassion. If you will live according to rule, ever after penitet toedet, let miseret miserescit succede. That they came in, it was a fault of oversight in not overseeing my office. If any should slink by Cerberus out of hell, it were a thing to be wondered at, and yet we see there doth. There are so many spirits walking. If any should steal by Janus into heaven, it were much worthy of marvel, and yet we see there doth. There are so many of Jupiter's lemons. If any should skip in or out by me, it is not to be admired, for why? Cerberus, the porter of hell, hath heads. Janus hath two, and I, your poor college porter, have but one. That they were not put out of the college when they were in, it was a fault, but a fault of courtesy. For who could find in his heart, when he seeth a man accompanied with music, musis comitantibus, to bid him ibis homere foras, get you home for an ass? But though my breast, I must confess, were then somewhat moved with their melody, yet hereafter my breast shall be marble when they warble. Nemo sibi mimos assipere debet favori. I will never let minstrels in again upon favour. For yourselves I can say no more but profit, and when, after this, Christmas cheer is ended, you fall again to your studies. I could wish Hippocrene may be Hippocris, the Muses Muscadine, and the Pierides pies every day for your sakes. And as for my 10 groats, if it will please you to remit it, I will give you deseis decem milli gratiarum dixi.
Well done there on that. I think the hardest of the speeches, but we shall see as we go to the next speech, which is Emma, I think, a speech delivered by Francis Clark again to the Lady Kenneda.
Noble lady, give him leave that hath been so bold as to take leave to speak before your ladyship, and out of the prognostics, not of profound pond or deep dale, but out of the candlestick of mine own observation, to give your ladyship some lighting of a great thunder that will happen in the morning. The reason of it is a flat, slimy, and sulphurous matter exhaled out of the kitchens and inflamed in the highest region of the dripping pans, which will breed fiery comets with much lightning and thunder, and the influence of it will so domineer in the cooks' heads that are brought up under the torrid zone of the chimney, that few of them will take rest this night, and suffer as few to take rest in the morning. They have set a little porch before so great an house, and have called their show the Fly. Some say, because a maid coming to town with butter was met by a cook, and by him deceived in a wood near adjoining, whose laments the dryads and hamadryads of the place, pitying, turned her into a butterfly. And ever since, the cooks are bound to this anniversary celebration of her metamorphosis. But soft, if the cooks hear that the porridge pot of my mouth runs over so, they will keel it with the ladle of reprehension. Therefore I will make haste away, only asking this bone, which will be as good as a bone to the cooks, that your ladyship's servants, Monsieur Peers, may ride tomorrow with the fiery fraternity of his fellow cooks, and make up the worthy company of the round table, which they are resolved not to leave till the whole house go round with them.
And the speech by Francis Clark now. Francis Clark having done the speech number 1, speech number 2. Sarah, I think, has the joy of a speech in the behalf of the freshmen now. Speech by Toad. Sorry. Speech after speech after speech. Are we not how drunk are they? I feel they need to be very, very drunk by this point. Anyway, sorry.
Nay, savi magne sacerdos, be not so severe, great session holder. Let pity prevail over the penitent. Let thy words of wormdom go down again into thy throat, and so by consequence into thy belly. But let not those go to the place from whence they came, and so by coherence to the place of execution. And though these be, as it is rightly said in the rule, turba gravis, passi placidaeque inimica quieti, yet think what goes next before, sis bonus ovelixque tuis. And although I must needs say I am sorry for it, that furtor atrocia flagitia designasse, yet remember what follows immediately in the place. Teque ferent irae poenituse tue. Your lordship is learned as well as I. It is bootless, and I should offer you the boots, you knowing the Latin to expound. I am here the jailer, the Janus, the janitor. You are the judge, the justice, the Jupiter to this miserable company. Yet bear I not 2 faces under a hood, neither deal I doubly between your lordship and the lewd. For though Janus and the jailer go together, ut bifrons custos, yet bos stands for a bar to distinguish the jailer from the thief, ut bifrons custos bos fer. Oh, that you were Jupiter, to be a helping father to these sons of sorrow. Or I were Janus indeed, that might have 2 tongues to entreat for this pitiful crew. Look, O thou flower of favour, thou marigold of mercy, and columbine of compassion. Look, oh look on the dolorous dewdrops distilled from the limbex or loopholes of their eyes, and plentifully powered on the flower of their faces. O see in these, O thou most exalted eldest son of justice, a lamentable example. Consider that homo bulla honour is but a blast. Pity, oh pity the cause of these hopeless, helpless, heartless, and indeed half-hanged young men. If they have erred, humanum est. They are men. Look not thou for that of them which you can but expect of gods. Have they spoken against the laws of your court? Why, dolet dictum imprudente adolescenti et libero. Has their tongue tripped? Why, lingua percurit. It was too quick for the wit. Quickness is commendable. Pectora percussit. Have they fought with your highness' servants? Have they been obstinate? Why, they have had their punishment, and toties quoties went either wet-skinned or dry-beaten to bed. Quid est quod? In hac causa defensionis agiat. Take pity, O thou peerless pattern of equity, if on nothing else, yet on their youth. Some of them are heirs, all of good ability. I beseech your lordship, with the rest of the joined stools, I would say the bench, take my foolish judgment, and let them fine for it. Merce them according to their merits and their purses. We shall all fare the better for it. As for other punishments, I speak it with weeping tears. They have suffered no small affliction in my keeping. Est locus in carcere quod dungeonium appellator. There they lay, noctes atque dies, at no great charge, for constat parvo fames, but so laded with irons that I made them lividia armis brachia. And now see, they are come forth after all, trepidus morte futura. O miseresque malus, take pity on the poor prisoners. Patres equeun, esse senset non iam, you may very well remember, since yourself were in the same case. Cut not off of some few slips those young plants of such towardness. Make not mothers weep. Wink at small faults. Revoke your sentence. Let the common good have their fines. Me have my fees, they have their lives, and all shall be well pleased. Dixie.
And finally, after the show, we have this letter composed for Frank Clark, yes, the porter of St. John's, who in his brother's behalf did break one's head with a black staff. I don't know if this is a post-show incident that this is referring to, or whether this is just a completely pointless addition that we're doing here. Eric, take it away.
The Master Lord, then Proctor, worshipful and worthy Master Proctor, whereas I, your poor vassal, in charity towards my afflicted brother, have stepped over the shoes of my duty in participating or accommodating my black staff to the easing of his overcharged articles and members, whereby I have justly plucked the old house, or rather the main beam of your indignation, upon my impotent and impudent shoulders, I do now beseech you upon the knees of my sorrowfulness and marrow bones of repentance to forgive me all delicacies and crimes as have been formerly committed. And whereas you, contrary to my deserts, have out of the bottomless pit of your liberality restored me out of the porter's lodge of misery into the tower of felicity, by giving that which was to you from me, silly me, unto your worshipful self, I mean my lady Pecunia, let me entreat you that I may burden the legs of your liberality so much farther as to deliver me the aforesaid black staff, without which I am a man and no beast, a wretch and no porter. But whereas it is thus by my most unfortunate fate that so worthy a present hath seen so unworthy a present, I cannot but condole my tragedy, is committing you to the profundity or abyss of your liberality, and myself to the graves of my adversity. Dixie.
Feels like there's a story there that I want to know the answer to, but we don't have that, or at least I don't have that to hand. I'm sure maybe some research will dig some of that out. There's some really nice one-liners in there, and there's an awful lot of other stuff. There's an awful lot of Latin, of which I'm sure there's some hilarious jokes in there. The first bit of pontificating is constantly mentioning Lily, and it's doing a really nice takedown of Lily's writing style. It's full of all the things you expect from Lily, and it actually does it really very well. And if you've read Lily, or maybe even seen some of his plays, which by this point there might have been some revivals going on. They're certainly in print a lot, so there's something interesting going on there. And there's even this whole thing about the fiddlers, this story about fiddlers, and he's paid for them, and they played thusly and or went a bit wrong. Actually sounds a bit like something from a Lily play. I can't remember off the top of my head if it was a Lily play or it was just a very similar play, but I do remember there was a play which there was a plot device involving fiddlers, and I can't remember if that's a Lily or not. I could be making that up. But I'm just wondering how much of that is based on a true story or how much of that is just part of the shtick. And we got quite a nice little thing about basically applauding the cooks for the meal, which feels very conventional and reasonable. I'm not quite sure what was going on with the freshman one. That I did lose the train of thought on. There were some lovely bits. Marigold of Mercy, Columbine of Compassion. There's some lovely bits in there. And then this sort of abortive story of assault. Can I have my staff back, please? Stuff. I'm not quite sure who it was specifically did it. There's a brother thing on brother's behalf, so I'm not quite sure which of the two does what or how that works. But yeah, there's a lot of really interesting stuff in there, if not necessarily performable. It feels like that's definitely stuff to dig into on the historical note that we might do further down the line. Briony, then Eric, then Sarah.
I really enjoyed the bit. I mean, there was quite a few bits in each one that I enjoyed, but one thing that stuck out to me that I didn't mention in the chat was in the freshman one that Sarah read, where he did all of the J alliterations, because it went a bit J for Gendetta, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And I love that because it's quite clever. It's a difficult letter to alliterate with.
Eric?
Yeah, I was just enjoying the bottomless pit of liberality and the abyss of liberality, and sort of, please forgive me and give me back my black staff. I cannot walk. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. Whereby I have justly plucked the old house, or rather the main beam of your indignation. I mean, this is lovely. It's so wonderfully overwrought that it's really nicely done. Sarah.
Yes, and my two favourites. Oh, weathercock of wretchedness that I am, seated on the maypole of misfortune. And also, hereafter my breast shall be marble when they warble. That really made me laugh. There's just so many kind of singular gems in here. I wonder if there would be a way that you could pull them all out and make one speech out of one short speech.
I definitely think we could cull material from it. Digging into the Latin, you might be able to produce something that is more performable as well. For a modern audience, I think it's a very small audience that would get the Latin jokes, and getting them all in one room at the same time would be very, very hard. But there's definitely something there that's really interesting. That's quite fun. Without those bits at the end, this is a nice half of a show. Basically, it's definitely something we could do as part of one of our live shows, recording for the podcast. It absolutely would work that way, and it's really nicely silly. And I have to say, I just plucked this out of the ether. I had no knowledge of it particularly. It was just on my list of to-do things. Looking for something Christmassy. And I think we found that in spades, actually. Silly as it is, it actually, I think, would work very well. Even for a modern audience, actually. Just a few minor adjustments, tweak a few bits here and there. Maybe add a few additional modern jokes to replace some of the ones that we understand there's a joke here, but it's referencing something that we don't get. Otherwise, it's time for final thoughts, actually, to go around the room. So I'll go to Briony first. Anything you were going to say, plus any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think the comedy just holds up really well. You wouldn't need to do that much at all with it. The one moment where it got a little bit weak for me was the awful die jokes. But I mean, we've read some plays where that's the height of how funny they get. With this, it was that was the low point, and it was brief, and it was still you could probably get a laugh out of those exact words without having to change them if you really, really tried. But yeah, it's what a lovely piece, and it lived up to its name of being a merriment.
Emma, any final thoughts?
I think the amount we're all laughing, me included, is just a testament to the fact of how well it works and how funny it is. It's just a very strong collection of kind of 2 and 3 handers that work so well. I'd definitely like to go further with this. And yeah, because it is written for a certain time and a certain place and a certain audience, there is that scope to kind of make it your own a bit more, make some kind of references or jokes, or edit some of the jokes so that it's more tailored to when it is being performed. There's also a lot of scope for great characterization and costumes. You've got a character who is a river, so that things like that. So I think that would be really fun as well.
Yeah, weirdly, this is one where I'm sitting. Yeah, we could throw some money at this one actually, and it would actually be well spent because it needs a bit of panache, doesn't it? Because it is a panto basically. It's just a very short panto. Maybe throw a few additional songs in. I don't think I'd make it a whole show. I think it's still going to be a 45-minute, 50 thing. But double bill with something else. We've got a few other short ones I quite like. So, options. Alan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I must admit, I was beginning to lose the will to live a bit with the post-show pontificating stuff.
Yeah, I labelled it as pontification for a reason.
It was there for a probably good reason at the time, but I don't think it's weathered well.
No.
But the main show itself struck me as fine, and I must admit, I didn't have the adverse reaction to the dying jokes because that's just the sort of puns I enjoy anyway. And as I say, an awful lot of it does feel very modern in terms of the wordplay, humour in it. I can easily see links of that through to 19th, 20th century material.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric, any final thoughts?
Yeah, it was fun. It was just trying to read it as a, with a straight face, like going sort of, thy face more fair than was the head of Gorgon. Thy hair, yes, blah blah. It was. I'm sure that even if you did this like to academics who actually know all these references, or even non-academics, they would, do it with panache. They would totally just fall over. But the point is, they have to, you have to get the references in order to understand that it's not a compliment to say all this.
Yeah, but a lot of the classical references are relatively, low level stuff. I mean, it's like as faithful as Helen. It was a gag that I think will land for a lot of people, whereas some of the more obscure ones won't. I mean, I think people will get the Gorgon one. Some people might not immediately get, what are Cupid's eyes to those of thine? They might have to take a moment to go, oh no, Cupid's blind. Yeah, sorry. Right, with you. There's some, and there are more obscure ones in there, but I think there are enough gags to hold a lot of those ones together. Sarah, any final thoughts?
Well, it was just a hoot, wasn't it? What you were saying about it being a bit like a panto, the nymph that I was speaking at the beginning, Lyriope, was it? Whatever she was called. She had a line when they were waiting for the prophet and then he came in. I'll see if I can find it. She had a line where it was basically the early modern version of "He's behind you." So yeah, and as I said it, I immediately thought, oh yeah, you could totally turn this into a pantomime. Oh yeah, here we go. See, husband, see, oh see where prophet blind in twice good time is coming here behind. I mean, you could
look one way. I can't see him.
Exactly.
Look the other way. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this would work really well with a modern audience. It's an absolute scream. I really enjoyed it, and I mean, with some of the more obscure classical references, you could perhaps swap them for modern jokes.
Or just add more in. I mean,
or just add more in. Yes, yeah. Your face is as orange as Trump's, or whatever. You could put a few things in for a modern audience that would tickle their tonsils. But yeah, I just think it's hilarious, and I think we should do a version of this most definitely.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's very panto. There's a couple of moments where it goes a bit 1980s panto, or maybe pull back from one or two of those jokes, where it's not quite landing. But most of this has survived incredibly well, it has to be said. So yeah, that's a thumbs up from everyone on the silliness counter. This is rating very, very high. So all that remains is to thank all these wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. And goodbye. Whose ledge of teeth is far more bright than Jetty's, whose lips are too good for any lettuce.